and brought that down and stabbed it not into the earth, into his knee.
Craig Glass is the former Bible smuggler who has spent 30 years helping men confront their deepest shame.
This is 1976, smuggling Bibles behind the Iron Curtain in the height of the Cold War.
What do you say about, the trajectory of masculinity in modern days versus, even when you started? And
being raised in a culture, at least here in North America, that increasingly communicates the more masculine you are, the more toxic you are.
All right, folks. So we want to take a quick minute to introduce our diamond sponsor, Chris Seegers with Exceptional Business Advisors. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your business, sir?
Man, a question that we love to ask our potential clients is, do you know what your business is worth? And if you sold your business today, would it fulfill your personal and financial goals? If you're a successful business owner, but you don't know when or how to sell your business, and if you've ever wondered what each additional day in your business is actually costing you, we'd love to chat. If you're ready to spend more time with your family, your friends, or traveling, come sit down with our team, because when you work with exceptional business advisors, we'll help you build a blueprint to sell your business successfully and help you create, capture, and achieve your dream life. Don't wait for the right time. The time's now. Go ahead and scan the QR code or book a discovery appointment at excoadvisors.com.
Now let's get back to the show.
Welcome back to the COS Business Podcast, #1 podcast in Colorado Springs.
And soon, the world. Today, our highlighted sponsor is Dream Accounting Solutions. You can find them at dreamaccountingsolutions.com. They've been a sponsor for almost a year now, so they've really showed a lot of support for the show and allow us to continue to do this. So yeah, check them out.
Absolutely. Well, today we have Craig Glass with Peregrine Ministries. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing awesome. Glad to be here with you guys.
Yeah.
Excited to have you. Yeah,
we're absolutely excited to have you. Our conversation started, I think, 2 to 3 months ago at a coffee shop.
It was a while ago.
I was wondering how it started.
Yeah, we met up and had like a good hour-long, maybe more than an hour-long discussion, just talking about so much stuff, which I'm excited to dive in today. But let's just start with you and your career from the very beginning, because I think you've had a very interesting career, and it started even decades ago of some of the most crazy things that you've done in your career. So start from the beginning.
Yeah. Okay, I will. Thanks. Right out of college, my wife and I decided to do something dramatically different with our lives before going on with more education. And we signed up for a short-term missions adventure. This is 1976, smuggling Bibles behind the Iron Curtain in the height of the Cold War. And we thought, well, this will be something we never do the rest of our lives. And it was amazing. It changed our lives. We lived in Vienna, Austria. Austria was neutral, but 25,000 spies working for the East or the West in Vienna. And we had a team with about a dozen people, cars and vans built with hidden compartments, secret floors and walls where you could hide Bibles and Christian literature that we took to pastors living in Eastern Europe.
So it was outlawed. Christianity was outlawed in Russia.
It was largely outlawed, yes. Technically, it was allowed by their constitutions in most places, but pretty illegal for a pastor to try to get a bunch of people together for teaching and worship and things like that. Mm-hmm. So it resulted in the underground church, it was called. Operating not literally underground in tunnels, but beneath the public. And so we were going to do that for 1 year. It changed the whole trajectory of our lives, changed everything. Our exposure to things bigger than the suburbs of Chicago, or my wife was from Austin, Texas. This is Bulgaria and Romania, pretty different. And being on the front lines of something that was politically the most significant issue going on at the time between the East and West, the Cold War. Mm-hmm. And we felt like we were doing an assignment from God to help build a church in Eastern Europe. And we ended up staying over there for 5 years. Changed everything. Our daughter was born there. We kept on sending teams and going on trips behind the Iron Curtain. Then for another 15 years, back in the headquarters in Chicago, I was a part of training and sending and overseeing teams all over the world. They weren't smuggling Bibles, just in Eastern Europe. This is doing spiritual guidance and teaching and working in churches and things like that. So I did that for 20 years. Mm-hmm. And then in 95 is when I had a big dramatic change in my path. I discovered I really had a heart and passion for working with men, helping men to understand their significance and their value, to make decisions in their lives, whether it was career or marriage, especially as a father, because I was the dad of young kids at the time, to make decisions that bring safety and provision and blessing into the lives of our family members rather than heartache and destruction. And so since that time, about 35 years or so, I've been doing nonstop ministry with men.
What a beautiful journey, man. Holy cow.
Thanks.
Well, because you gave me this book personally, and this has been an awesome book. I'm about halfway through.
Thanks.
And it talks about, obviously, what you've been bringing up about men and being noble and like noble journey. But it also talks about some personal stories for yourself as well, childhood personal things, and things that you had a lot of guilt about in your childhood, and then bringing it up to the surface to some family members, which I thought was like a really cool, just I guess full circle moment for you, to kind of bring in the very beginning of the book.
Yeah.
Can you talk to us about that? If you don't mind.
Didn't know you were going to bring that up. You're talking about the Pitchfork story.
Yes.
I think. Yeah. No, I'm so glad you asked that, man. It's one of the stories I tell about myself. Like Marcus said early on in the book, early on in my life, I was 8, I think, something like that. My younger brother was about 3. We were playing in the backyard of our house, making mud highways and streets and buildings, literally out of just digging up dirt and spraying it with water and creating a little world for our cars. And we had a hole in the back there. My younger brother, Clyde is his name, was sitting in the hole. I thought it would be a great idea to scare the daylights out of him. And so I picked up one of the tools laying nearby, a pitchfork. And my intent, I raised it over my head. My intent was to bring it down in the ground right in front of him. And so I just went, and brought that down and stabbed it, not into the earth, into his knee. And, I missed the planet. In other words, I hit my brother. Pulled it back, blood spurting out of his knee. It's draining down his legs. He's screaming, of course. I was horrified and guilty and scared and everything with it. Tossed the thing, and he gets up. He's going to start running into the house to tell our mom. And of course, my first word of advice to him as he's leaving is, "Don't tell mom." like that's going to happen. A minute later, she comes running out of the house, frantic, very concerned about what happened. And in that minute that he was gone before my mom showed up, I concocted, as you know, Marcus, having read it now, the worst series of lies in my life. I mean, this is just spontaneous, and it showed. And so I just covered up like crazy, made a bunch of lies. I said he jumped into the hole and cut his knee with a wire cable that stuck in his knee. And of course, my mom said, "Well, where's the cable?" Oh, I dug it up. Thinking she's going to believe that. Where is it? Oh, I didn't expect that question. I buried it in the back of the yard, down by the alley. Like I could have gotten there and back in that time. And I'm just feverishly trying to cover up my flaws and shame. And at a certain point, she said, you're just going to have to tell this to Dad when he gets home. And I know I better have a better story by the time he gets home. I didn't. I stuck with that one. And on the way to the back alley to find the supposed cable that I dug up to save my brother from getting cut again, we're walking across the yard with my dad, and a lightning bolt hit, and it started to rain. And he looked up and said, "I guess we'll do this later." And I thought, God saved me, a miracle, which is not at all what happened. But that laid on me. My first experience was shame. And so that's what I talk about at the start of the book. I think a lot of men experience shame. Women do too, but I work with men almost solely. And I know shame is often just beneath the surface for men. If you don't mind, I'll just go ahead and say, what's the difference between shame and guilt? Because that's often the question. They're very similar, but they're pretty different. Guilt is the truth about ourselves. Guilt is based on something that actually happened or that we said or did. It's undeniable. We're guilty. Shame is dramatically different. It's not just the truth about our behavior. It's a lie about our identity and our significance. You stabbed your brother with a pitchfork. You deserve to do nothing beneficial for mankind the rest of your life. You're disqualified. That's shame. And that's my story. I got other stories too. But I think a lot of men, as they think about it, can come up with stories of shame where you feel like you're disqualified. Or you have to feverishly make up for it.
Agreed.
Impress others' performance, scare other people, keep them at a distance so they'll never find out about the real you. That's shame.
We're going to take a quick break to thank our sponsors.
HR Branches. Is your back office chaos? Are you buried in HR payroll and financial guesswork?
Your passion shouldn't be a prison. Savion HQ is your fractional back office partner. We merge HR, payroll, accounting, and tax to bring order to the chaos and make your passion profitable again.
Stop the bleed, get your freedom back. Find us at savionhq.com or email at hello@savionhq.com.
Data Hubs is a compliance, intelligence, and orchestration platform that helps organizations meet the requirements of frameworks like ISO 27001, SOC 2, CMMC, HIPAA, GDRP, and more.
Data Hubs gives small and mid-sized businesses a premium compliance experience while cutting down the time, cost, and stress it usually takes to get across the finish line. Learn more at datahubs.com. That's DATAHUBZ.com.
Reveal Med Spa. Look and feel your best at Reveal Med Spas. With personalized plans that deliver real results, radiant skin, restored confidence, and natural rejuvenation.
At Reveal Med Spa, we see you more than just aesthetic and wellness treatments. We provide a safe, judgment-free space where you feel valued, heard, and supported.
Visit RevealMedSpas.com.
I think it is literally just that too. We'll just double check. Book your next session at RevealMedSpas.com. That's RevealMedSpas.com. Fast Signs. From banners to vehicle wraps, Fast Signs delivers custom visual solutions to help your business stand out. Their team ensures your message is clear, bold, and effective. Get your signage needed handled at FastSigns.com. That's FastSigns.com.
Dream Accounting Solutions. Take the stress out of managing your books with Dream Accounting Solutions. They provide reliable expert accounting services tailored to small businesses. Simplify your finances at dreamaccountingsolutions.com. That's dreamaccountingsolutions.com.
Exponential Impact. Exponential Impact is driving innovation and entrepreneurial success in Colorado Springs. Supporting startups with mentorship, funding, and community resources, they help businesses grow and thrive. Learn more about their impact at exponentialimpact.com. That's exponentialimpact.com.
And now let's get back to the show.
The crazy thing is, like, you circled back decades later to talk to your brother and your family about it. I kind of want you to share that because I thought that was kind of funny how that full circle moment happened.
Wow, thanks. I'm so glad you asked this question, Marcus. I didn't know you were going to, like I said, but it's that was a profound moment for me as an 8-year-old. But this, decades later, circling back, I believe I was about 40 or something like that. Let's say I was 40. And I started to learn about what shame was about. And then I carried a lot of shame. not just from that experience, but other stuff. And a defining feature of my life was perform the daylights at everything you can do. Sports, school, whatever it is. Girlfriends, perform the daylights. And I discovered that I was carrying a lot of shame that I needed to release. And to me, shame gets released when you bring it out of the darkness. You bring it out of the secret closet. And you talk honestly about it and apologize. So I called my brother and I said, Clyde, I'm pretty sure you remember. And I know he remembered because he had a triangular shaped scar on his knee from the tine of the pitchfork the rest of his life. And as it turns out, every time he wore shorts or a swimsuit, he's a basketball player for decades, years and years and years. Every time he wore a pair of shorts, I saw that thing.
Yeah.
So did he. Anyway, I just said, Clyde, I don't know if you remember how you got that, but it was me. I stuck a pitchfork in your knee. It was by mistake, but that was me, and I lied about it ever since. This is, let's call it 30.
Oh, you kept the lie going. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Since the lightning bolt?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. I kept the lie going, not verbally,
Mhm.
because I think nobody ever asked me about it again. I
Oh,
kept
okay.
it going in silence.
Yep.
Hide it, bury it. That's how I kept the lie going.
Absolutely.
And I really had no idea if you knew the whole story.
For
So
sure.
I had to call. And so I said, Clyde, so the scar on your knee, I know you know about the scar. Do you know how it happened? And he said, pretty sure it was a pitchfork, right? Yeah. I just need you to know. I lied about it, but I did that. It wasn't on purpose, but I drilled that into your knee.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just so sorry. I'm so sorry. And I didn't know what his reaction was going to be. It's built up for 3 decades or so. He said, yeah, pretty crazy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was it. That's what it was for him.
And you said shame is released by talking
Bring it
about
out of the darkness.
bringing it out of the darkness.
In other words, hiddenness, secrecy, denial, lying.
Mm-hmm.
Bring it out of the darkness. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I did. So I did with him, and it turned out, for me, it was a 3-decade weight on my
Mhm.
shoulders, and for him, it was no big deal. No big deal. Wow. I wish I had known that. But then I needed to talk to my parents, mom and dad, and we've never talked about it. It's
Oh,
crazy.
they definitely didn't know, did they?
They
I guess
never
your
brought
mom
it
might
up.
have known.
My mom knew.
Yeah.
and my dad knew.
Yeah,
My
for sure,
dad
yeah.
was a hospital administrator. He has seen bloody wounds before.
Mhm.
And in fact, what he said to me when he first came home was, hey, we got to find out what caused the injury. I got to get him to emergency and get a tetanus shot or something.
Mhm.
So my dad knew something's happened. I told him it's a wire cable. Triangularly shaped, believe it or not, Dad. Anyway, so I called my mom and dad, and I was in Chicago at the time. They're in Florida, retired. And my dad picks up the phone. Hey, hi, Craig. How you doing? How's the weather up there? Dad, can you get Mom on the phone? I have something pretty important I want to talk to you about. Oh, okay. So they both get on the phone. And I said, you guys, this is coming about 30 years too late. But I want to tell you something about me that possibly you know, but I don't know if you know. But I stabbed Clyde in the knee with a pitchfork way back in the day. That's where that triangular wound came from. And I'm just so sorry. I'm so sorry. And they said, what? I'm so sorry. No. What are you talking about? Clyde's wound in his knee, the scar on his knee. I know you know what I'm talking about. I caused that when he was 5 or 3 and I was 8. I did that. And my mom, who is just, the sweetest lady in the world, said, sweetheart, we don't know what you're talking about. And thought, here again, I have carried about 14 tons of shame on my shoulders from a lot of built up stuff. But that was about the first one.
For sure, yeah.
And for my brother, it's no big deal. For my parents, they don't know what I'm talking about. So it's just a gigantic lesson to me, you guys, for men, about the stuff that we do in our lives, whether we got our girlfriend pregnant and lied about it, or paid for her abortion, or got fired and we knew we should have been because we were stealing, or whatever it is, and we cover up. The stories that we cover up, that causes shame. And it causes poor self-esteem and hiddenness and removal from other people, and, depending on your reaction, performance.
You know, I have a similar story, actually.
Cool.
It's relatable.
Join me.
I have a moon scar right here, actually.
Wow.
It's a moon-shaped scar. My brother, when I was like 6 or 7, he threw it through a fire pit, like the top of a can, and it hit my arm perfectly. And he covered me up with a blanket and said, "Don't tell mom."
That's the first thing. Yeah. Older brothers say this.
Exactly. So it's kind of funny, and like I don't even know if he remembers that. So maybe I got to talk to my brother about that.
Wow. Wow. You were
Yeah.
how old when that happened?
I was probably like 6 or something like
Yeah.
that, and he was probably like 8. So yeah.
Oh, he's older brother.
Yeah, older brother. So
Whoa.
it's kind of funny.
Don't tell mom.
Yeah.
Exactly. He really covered it up. I was walking with a blanket suspiciously, and like, and my mom was like, "Why are you walking around with the blanket?" And she just kind of thought something was off, and she eventually saw my hand, and she was like, "What happened there?" And I don't even remember what happened after that, but you could literally move the flesh. It was crazy.
Yeah.
But I got a moon scar. He's got a star scar, and I got a moon scar.
Nice.
Yeah.
My brother's is triangular.
Okay. Oh, triangular, not a star. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think we can all, if we put some thought to it, understand and be honest enough to say, I got a story like that. In fact, I got 14
Mm-hmm.
or 43.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's such a cool story. If you think about like the full circle moment of like carrying all this shame, and that's
Yeah.
not great, but
Yeah.
like once you finally release that, and there's like your parents are like, what?
Yeah.
They have no idea.
I did not see that coming.
Wow.
Yeah. I was only partly surprised by my brother Clyde's reaction. I did not see my parents saying, "We don't know what
Yeah.
you're talking about."
I just hope my brother hasn't been holding some kind of shame from it, so I would love to
Yep.
bring it up for him. So yeah, because I don't care. Like it's not even a
Yeah.
big deal. It's a cool scar for me.
Yeah,
So,
nice.
Yeah.
A talking piece.
Yeah.
Conversation
Absolutely.
starter.
Goodness. Well, then after that, then you started Peregrine,
Yeah.
like in the early 2000s, of
Yeah.
course. And is that mostly focused on men, or talk to us a
So-
little bit about that as well?
Well, yeah. Yeah, I did start at early 2000s, like I said. I'll mention quickly, people hear the name Peregrine, let's say, and a lot of times they don't know what that is. I wore this so somebody could see it
Yeah.
somewhere.
It's my first time
kind of
hearing it.
falcon.
It's a
The first
falcon,
time
okay.
you've heard it.
Yeah.
It's kind of falcon. And it's a cool falcon. It's the fastest creature in the world, flies 200 miles an hour, mates for life, defends the nest against any other flying creatures in the sky. And I've learned this in recent years. Every other bird in the air has an instinctive picture of the silhouette of a peregrine falcon. And if they see it in the sky, they get the heck out of town.
Mhm.
They leave. That's the peregrine falcon, a defender of the nest and the home. I like all that stuff. It's a raptor, you know. I like that stuff, but that's not why I chose the name. The name is, in Latin, it's peregrinus. Peregrinus. It means pilgrim, which is also a word not a lot of guys know, but some people know. A pilgrim, a pilgrimage is a spiritual journey that people go on hikes sometimes for miles and miles and miles. A phrase I heard about a pilgrim that I love is being on a physical journey with a spiritual destination. And that's what I feel like I'm on. I think we all are, whether we know it or not. We really are. Every day, we're on a physical journey in our relationships with other people or work or in the community, sports, whatever it is. But ultimately, there are spiritual lessons to be learned if we pay attention. So that's why I chose the name Peregrine. Yeah, I started it in 2002. And yes, it's solely directed to men, though frequently I talk to the wives of men, but it's solely to men. And the whole purpose is to guide and inspire men on their life journey. Give them some guidance, give them some inspiration, so that they will pass on a life-giving legacy. And what I mean by legacy there is not just property or money or bank accounts or material stuff that's going to rot and get thrown away anyway. Legacy, in the deepest term, is our influence in other people's lives. You guys are having a legacy, by the way, in this podcast. You are leaving something behind.
Mm-hmm.
You're building a legacy. All of us are. We almost never think about it, but we are. All of us are creating some kind of legacy. And the key question is, what does it look like? And am I paying attention to what it looks like? And for me, I asked myself early on when I first started thinking about this stuff, my kids were quite young, the father of 3 little kids, and I started asking myself, is my influence in their lives primarily to make sure they turn out the lights, spend their allowance, earn their allowance, spend it for smart stuff, get the Hot Wheels out of the driveway when I say so, stuff like that? Is it primarily about following Dad's rules? Or is my legacy, my influence, my imprint in their lives going to be, I love you, I believe in you, be who you are, bring it on, because I want you to be you? It seems like a no-brainer. It wasn't a no-brainer for me. That hit me smack in the face. What am I passing on to my kids? Well, I want to pass on a blessing, not destruction. I'll bet most guys do too.
Man, that's beautiful. Is there any learning lessons, of course, with your kids? I know we're going personal with you to start, but
I love personal.
Raising kids is like you're learning lessons every day.
Yeah.
So it's just a great place to pull so much fruit from, right?
Yeah.
But can you unpack that a little bit more
Sure.
of a learning lesson for one of your kids of
Yeah.
just being who they want to be and you kind of being that champion behind them?
Yeah. Yeah. The first story like that comes to mind, Marcus, is my daughter. So I've got a daughter and 2 boys. Her name is Barkley, which we loved. She didn't like it so much because friends called her Charles Barkley or Barkley the dog and stuff like that. Anyway, when she was in junior high, we noticed her being exceptionally anxious about school. And as we talked with her more, we learned it was about her friends. Is Marina going to treat her nicely today? Or is some other girl going to be her friend, or is she going to embarrass her in school? Whatever it was, our daughter was feeling a lot of anxiety about what do people think about me. And it became a concern for my wife and I. And so we talked with her about that a lot. But first of all, what I had to realize was I gave that to her. I laid that in her lap, not on purpose, but I passed that on to her. Because as a kid, not just because of that Pitchfork deal, but I was raised by amazing, wonderful, loving parents who also were concerned about their reputation and what other people think about them. My mom has passed away. She might be listening right now. Sorry, Mom. But this is the truth. She wouldn't mind. I don't know how many times I heard her say, Craig, you can't do that. You can't wear those shoes. You can't wear those pants. You can't stay home from church. What would people think? I guess everybody's got a scorecard. And I better score well, because what would people think? What would people think about me? What would people think about Mom and Dad? I didn't know that at the time as a kid, but I found out when my daughter was 13. I was raised in that. I was marinated in that. And I passed that on to my daughter. And so it involved a conversation for me with Barkley and just let her know, sweetheart, you're amazing all by yourself. Be who you are. People will enjoy you and like you, and they'll be your friends. Or maybe they won't, and they'll move on. Let them move on. You be who you are. That was, I was in my 40s when I learned that. Gee, I think you ought to learn that at about 22 as a dad. I laid it in her lap. That's just one example, Marcus. There's loads of them.
That's a good one.
Yeah, there's loads of them.
That's a great one. Do you believe, and talk a little bit about your book, but
yeah,
I don't know if this it kind of comes up in the book for sure, is do you believe in generational curses and wounds obviously carried out from like your father, especially like you talk about in the book, but like talk a little bit more about that, because I think that's very important for our audience to understand that, like to take inventory on their life, because I have a great father too, but like I've recognized wounds I've gotten from him, and like I think it's good to understand those things, and to recognize the wounds in your life as well.
Yeah, great. Yes, in a word, yes, I do. I'd like to say a little bit more about it. I come at life, you're already picking up and understanding, you read the book, you know. I come from life from a pretty spiritual perspective. I'm physical, I'm intellectual, I'm emotional, but I'm spiritual. God made me that way. The rest of us too, whether we know it or not. I do believe there is such a thing as generational sin or generational consequences. I think I would rather personally not use the word curse. I just don't go there. That's not really the way I approach it. I do think there are generational consequences to our behavior. The Bible itself says the sins of the father are laid in the laps of their children after them for 3 and 4 generations. Whoa. If that's true, and I think it is, I really want to pay attention to that. What am I doing? Am I greedy? Am I impatient? Am I violent? Am I fearful? Am I silent? Am I filled with shame? Whatever it is, that affects people. That no one more so than our wives and our kids. And so, not sure how many in our audience are husbands and dads, or hope to be someday. But this is true in friendship too. Absolutely, it's true in friendship. We can pass stuff on. It leaks. Who we are leaks. If we're a person who brings joy and acceptance and pleasure in relationships with other people, it leaks. If it's distance and animosity and violence, it leaks. No more so than with our kids. And so I would just say, again, to our audience here, if there are men who are watching who are dads, young dads, older dads, or hope to be dads someday, or fathers of adopted kids, blessing gets laid in the laps of our kids. And so does a pattern of sinful lifestyle, for sure. And that same verse, by the way, says, the sins of the father get laid in the laps of their children for 3 and 4 generations, but God brings blessing to thousands of generations. Wow, what if I turn around and I say, Lord, I want to be a man of safety and genuine love and kindness, especially with my kids and my grandkids. What if that affected 1,000 generations? That's legacy.
That's beautiful.
I agree. Yeah, I think so.
I think there's actual science that with epigenetics that actually confirms that you've passed down.
I think so.
Things that happen in your life.
Yeah.
Whether you're I don't know exactly all of it. If I had a person to pull up some facts right now, I would. But I believe that there's some proof to it now.
Oh
too.
yeah, I think you're right, Andrew. There is proof for that. I'm not a psychologist. I never really studied that field. I did study pre-med, so I'm a scientist by nature. I believe science happens, and I believe emotional impact happens. Gosh, for harm and destruction, or for blessing and encouragement. Yeah.
we'd like to take a quick break and thank our sponsors.
Junkin' Hall.
Need to clear out clutter fast?
Junkin' Hall is Colorado Springs' go-to for same-day junk removal.
With the eco-friendly service and a 5-star team you can trust.
Visit junkinhall.com to schedule your free estimate today. That's JUNKNHAUL.com.
Bolton Co. Executive Coaching.
Up feels better than stuck. You know that. But in this market, how do you get unstuck and get ahead as an executive?
Our guy JB is an executive coach at Bolton Co. Coaching, where he believes you don't have to change who you are. You just need an injection of effectiveness and a proven competitive edge roadmap for your way up. Head to boltonco.net. That's boltonco.net. Be Our Guest Getaways. Be Our Guest Getaways specializes in Disney cruise resort and theme park vacations.
Planning a Disney vacation can be stressful. Let Be Our Guest Getaways provide you with concierge-level service for free.
Learn more at beourguestgetaways.com. That's beourguestgetaways.com.
Planet Duct. Planet Duct is the #1 choice for professional air duct cleaning in Colorado Springs and Southern Colorado. With state-of-the-art equipment and top-tier service, they make sure the air in your home or business is clean and allergen-free. Breathe easier with Planet Duct. Learn more at planetduct.com.
Awesome Home Services. Awesome Home Services delivers top-notch HVAC solutions for your home. Whether you need heating, cooling, or system maintenance, they ensure your comfort year-round. Visit awesomeservice.com for your HVAC needs. That's awesomeservice.com.
Proud American Electrical and Solar.
Give Proud American Electrical and Solar a call today for all your electrical and solar needs. They are locally owned and operated business right here in Colorado Springs. If you're looking for information on solar, this is the company you will want to call. Check out their website at proudamericansolar.com. Use promo code COSBusiness for a 5% discount today.
Pinnacle Advanced Primary Care.
Pinnacle Advanced Primary Care offers affordable, accessible healthcare with a focus on you. They provide exceptional primary care without the hassle of insurance barriers. Experience a patient-centered approach. Learn more at pinnacleapc.com.
And now let's get back to the show. I mean, what a time to start your ministry and what you're doing with men, especially the past 2 decades, where I feel like masculinity has taken quite a trajectory. What do you say about, the trajectory of masculinity in modern days versus, even when you started and then, where it's going?
Yeah. I'll say this. First of all, you're right. Wow. It's masculinity is in danger. It's at threat. But I'll also say this. When I was a kid, growing up in the suburbs in the 60s, I think I wondered, do I have what it takes to be a man? And what does that mean anyway? What does it mean to be a man? I wondered, do I have to go hunting for deer in Wisconsin every fall? Do I have to overhaul the engine in my car? Can't. Do I have to be the quarterback on the football team? Do I have to get as many girls as I can? Is that what it means to be a man? I'm not sure I measure up in any of them. I think beneath the surface for a lot of men today is that same question. Do I have what it takes to be a man? And then the follow-up question, what the heck does that mean? What does it mean to be a man? And what we're seeing are the consequences in our society. Men are hurting. More women graduate from college nowadays than men. Traditional male trade jobs and skills are often being outsourced or they're being mechanized and robotized. Men commit 96% of the mass killings in this country. Most of the deaths of despair, suicide, and drug overdose happen to men. There are more things I could say. We know all of these things. Bottom line is men are at risk, and men listening right now and watching right now are being raised in a culture, at least here in North America, that increasingly communicates the more masculine you are, the more toxic you are. The less there is of you, the better for the rest of us, right? You pretty much picked that up. Yes, I think men are at risk. And so a 2-word phrase that I've used for decades is men matter. And I say that as it's the name of our blog, Men Matter. I say that to men directly and personally. You know, you matter, Andrew. I know you're nodding, but you really do. And I mean this seriously and personally. You matter, man. I love to mention that to men because they doubt it. And I have to also say, with an audience like this, I have to qualify it by saying, or clarify, I'm not saying women don't matter. You know, we need to be able to use our heads to say there are two true things that can happen at the same time. Women matter too. I work with men, and I know they doubt it. That's why I tell men they matter all the time, over time, to try to convince them, despite the lies and accusations the culture throws at you, man, you really, really matter. You matter. God made you a man on purpose. God made my daughter, my wife, and my daughters-in-law women on purpose. Wow. Do I love that? They matter. I'm talking to men. You matter.
Have the stories changed from, say, day one opening your doors to 2025 talking to men of 2025 versus men of 2005?
Yeah.
Has it changed? Has the conversation changed? Or is it just kind of the same thing, just, you know, packaged differently, but mostly the same kind of conversations?
Wow, that's a great question. I love that. I need to think it through. I would say, yeah, probably. You know, in 2 decades, the conversation or the topics may have changed a bit, but I would also say this: the root issues have not changed. I traveled overseas as a career for 20, 25 years. I've been in a lot of countries. The issues for men are always the same: sexual temptation, anger, fear, shame.
So it's
They're
not
always
just
the-
an American problem.
No, this is a Romanian, a Filipino, a Taiwanese thing. It reveals itself differently for sure. And guys may be tempted or vulnerable in different ways in Bulgaria than they are in Canada. But the root issues for men, I believe, are the same across cultures. That was my field of study. I like I said, I studied pre-med, then went into a mission agency. They put me through a master's program of international cultural studies. This is truth that goes throughout culture. A few years ago, I was asked by women to go to Burundi. A friend of mine, a lady, was leading a ministry that worked with survivors of the genocide that took place with Rwanda and Burundi. Don't know if you guys remember this. It was in the 90s. 2 tribes living together, starting to slaughter each other, Hutus and Tutsis. In the first 24 hours, 100,000 people were killed.
My God.
Well, this woman, her name is Emily, was working with survivors, women survivors, who had been raped, tortured, saw their husbands killed, saw their kids killed right in front of them. They were raped and intentionally allowed to survive, so they give birth to the enemy's kids.
Wow.
How brutal is that? How dark is that? Well, that's the capacity of the darkness of the heart of mankind. And by the way, I got to say, this isn't women doing this, it's men doing this. Women were the victims carrying the kids. But my friend Emily is teaching these women how to build a small business, make clothing for your kids, and then sell clothing. Build a vegetable fruit stand here, right by the side of the road. You can make some money. We'll teach you how to save and things like that. It was amazing. They had sewing, old Singer sewing machines with 30 women in a room learning how to sew. And I went with a team of men over there just to experience it and see what they were doing. How come? She said, Craig, we can get the women. We cannot get the men. They're in the streets. They're getting high. They're running around carousing, and they're getting women pregnant. We cannot get the men, but until we get the men, we will never turn this culture around. They're right. You got to get the men. You got to get the men, because they're going to kill the culture if you don't. That's Gee, that was just 15 years, not even that story. I've been doing this for quite a while, but I see it over and over again. Get back to that same point. It's cross-cultural. The hearts of mankind, the hearts of women too. Let's be fair. Women are broken and wounded and sinful as well. But man, men bring a layer of violence and consequences like women do not.
My goodness. When you're around that kind of violence, like, what does that do to you internally as far as experience and wisdom? Because I can only imagine, having that experience under my belt, it would change me in hopefully great ways to be like, I can understand the spectrum of aggression for men.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's got to be a lot of wisdom that's come out of a situation of chaos like you've been, or going beyond the Iron Curtain. And we didn't even mention that you got caught once doing, going over there. But like all these experiences these are insane experiences. I mean, so much wisdom comes out of that because you've seen the other side of real human aggression that even us in the US, we're very blessed to have a country that's not in a place like that. That's real tyranny, taking place.
Yeah.
So talk about wisdom garnered from that.
I love that. Well, I'll tell a quick story first, and then I'll tell the lesson that comes out of it. You guys remember the shootings, the school shootings in Sandy Hook in Connecticut, 10, 12 years ago, whatever it was, 22 kids, a couple of teachers killed, in a matter of minutes. I was driving the car the day after that, listening to sort of talk radio, a guy named Dennis Prager. Don't know if you know that name, but he's a conservative talk show guy. He's Jewish, incredibly well-educated and insightful. Anyway, the day after the shooting, he made a statement that really stood out to me. He said, the most important question for any society to answer is, how do we build good men? My immediate reaction, though I work with men all the time, I lean that way. My immediate reaction was, well, wait a minute, Dennis, let's not be too biased here. We want to build good women too. And then the more I thought about it, I realized he's right. He's not talking about relative value between men and women. That's not what he's talking about. He's talking about the relative consequences of good men and wicked men, and good women and wicked women. There are both. And in fact, we're a mix of all of it. We all can have the capacity to be both good and kind and deceitful and harmful, that's for sure. But you know what I'm talking about. A good man, a man who's committed to being a benefit to society, bringing growth and positive environment of safety and security and provision and blessing. A good man. The difference between him and a guy who walks into a school and shoots 22 kids who are 5 years old, the consequences are enormous. So that goes back to your question. I have seen harm and destruction and wickedness. What it's caused me to believe, Marcus, is that guy's got just as much capacity and potential to go that way, positive, if that story gets transformed. If his story gets changed, he's got the capacity to bring all of that energy and power to blessing.
So you think it was preventable, like if he had some intervention years before? It was probably brewing forever.
It's got to be, don't you think? He doesn't just wake up some morning and think, I'm slaughtering a room full of kids. Yes, I think it's preventable. Preventable how? Gosh, the list is rather long. But I would say, my opinion, again, I'm no psychologist. My opinion is that guy needed a male voice in his life that told him he mattered. And he can bring blessing or destruction. I believe in you. Bring it on. Let's see who you can be. Come on. You matter. Let's bring it on.
Because he multiplied his destruction that day.
Oh, gee.
He almost maybe like even did 1,000-fold that day just because of his action. I don't know.
Oh,
Like,
gee. Oh, gee. And, a story like that, not quite those numbers, happens just about every day in our culture, right? 96% of the time, it's a male, a broken, angry, violent male who decides, I'm going out with a blaze of glory. I'm taking as many with me as I can. By and large, women don't do that. I'll say a broad statement that I would say is probably in the 90% range of being true. When men are broken, when they're broken and turn violent, it goes outward. It goes toward others. When women are broken and turn harmful, it often goes this way on themselves. Stay stuck in a destructive relationship. This is what I deserve. Start walking the streets and sell your body. This is what I deserve. Yes, there are violent women. Yes, every now and then some woman shoots a guy. It stands out on the front page. How come? It's a woman. Who saw this coming? That's why I go after men, you guys. Men matter. For blessing or destruction.
And what a powerful message for sure. Holy cow. It's just so much to unpack there, especially, I mean, with those stories. Have you ever had stories in your ministry of men coming to you who are very hurt? You know, sometimes men come and that's a good thing, right? They're coming and they're gravitating towards you because they're hurt, but they want better for themselves.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
You've seen the 180 that you're talking about. You've seen, you know, what can come out of them just by having someone like you or someone in your ministry or somebody who's just a really good male figure in their life help them and be that light for them. Because I feel like at those times, they feel like there's no light. It's just darkness.
Yeah. A guy who was in a men's small group with me many years ago, cool guy, liked him. Let's call him Mark. He disappeared. Didn't know where he went. Everybody's asking, do you know where Mark went? He's not here this week. We met over a bonfire on Friday mornings in a guy's barn. And eventually, one of the guy's wives knew Mark's wife and found out he took off. He quit his job, moved to California. No offense.
No offense taken.
Probably not in the recent years.
No, this is a while ago.
Yeah.
Shacked up with some lady, blew the whole deal, abandoned his family, his work, and everything. And out of the blue, several months later, I got an email or a phone call from him. Craig, it's Mark. I'm back in the Springs. Can I see you? And so we met in a booth at a Panera. And this is a different looking guy.
A lot of shame?
Oh, God. Oh, a lot of shame. And yes, the shame was visible on him. It was physical. He was a different looking guy, emaciated, overgrown, just no offense, spikes and studs and stuff pinned all over the place. Not that there's anything wrong with that. But this is a different guy. And I said, Mark, tell me the story. And he said, he told me what I could have filled in all the blanks. I left everything that meant everything to me. And finally, I decided I'm taking myself out. Went to the store, bought a bottle of Jack Daniels, went to a Walmart, bought a big, thick hemp rope, maybe a 50-foot long rope. Late at night, pulled in the parking lot, had a hatchback car, tied one end of the rope around the concrete base of the light stand, put the rope through the hatchback up to the front seat, formed a noose out of the rope, put it on his head, and his plan was to get drunk until he decided it's time to go, tighten the noose, turn on the car, floor it. Strap the seatbelt, of course, and floor it. Yes, I've met men like this. He's not the only guy like that. What happened is Jack Daniels kicked him in the butt. He passed out, woke up the next morning, half in the car, half on the parking lot, and thought, what have I done with my life? I need to get back to my family and my faith and a group of men who actually believe in me. You're in. of course you're in. And I can't say everything magically changed, but yes, everything changed. He's got a transformed life. It's transformed. So yeah, there are stories like that. It happens.
It's beautiful, man. I
Yeah.
can't tell you enough how important your work is
Thank you.
for
Thanks a lot.
men. I lost my best friend to suicide, and it
Yeah.
hurts me every day because I know he needed that, you
Yeah.
know, just extra
Yeah.
person there for him. And it's just, I
I'm
mean,
sorry.
unfortunately, it's not one of those things that's very rare in our world today. He was
That's
a
right.
veteran, and I mean, they
Oh
call
my
it
goodness.
22 a day for veterans is a significant number because
It's a big
22
number.
vets that take their life a day. Actually, it's more now,
Is it?
unfortunately.
I didn't know that.
And it's one of those things where you're just like, man, like
Yeah.
when I notice it with anybody that I really care about isolating or anything, I'm always now because of that situation, I'm just like, I want to be there. I'll drop whatever to be there for someone I really care and love. And it's
Yeah.
changed me for the better in a lot of
Good
ways
for you.
because of that.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
like your work is so important because that's another thing too, is those
Well,
men.
thanks.
I mean, speaking of isolation, this guy ran away to California. It just, again, all the red flags, right? Isolation.
Yeah. You can see it coming. Yeah. I'm so glad you said that. And I just want to say, again, to those watching and listening and to you guys in the room, friendship and paying attention and asking great questions and speaking into the lives of others. You don't have to be a psychologist or a counselor or a therapist. All you got to do is be a friend. Care about another guy. Care about your wife. Goodness sake, care about your kids. Care about your grandkids. I got 6 of them. Just spent a week with them in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Care about them. Let them know they matter to you. It's big. It does have an influence. It does have an impact. And I'm certain, though I don't know the guy, the shooter at Sandy Hook, I'm certain that guy was lacking a safe male figure in his life. That's got to be the case. Or at the very least, if he had one, that might have changed the story. It's like, sports coaches or Boy Scout leaders or guys in the inner city, African American, Hispanic men who band together to bring these kids meaninglessness to their lives on the streets and let them know you're on a trajectory that matters. Come here, we want to talk to you about your life and that it matters. Do you think that has an impact? My goodness, does it have an impact? I love that.
Man, it's
Yeah.
so important, Craig.
Thank you.
I had a story when I was in 5th and 6th grade, and I have never told this on the show, but my father was living in a different state at that time. He wasn't he was around, but he wasn't living in the same state as me. He wasn't as
Yeah.
present as I needed at that time. I needed my father.
Yeah.
And I was just getting into sports and football and all these amazing things. And I had a teacher who came to me and really believed in me, and it changed my life forever. And he was a football coach and he was my teacher, and he was just enamored by my spirit for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And like he
Yeah.
nominated me. So in California, 6th grade, still in elementary school. And I was like the first person ever to be nominated for this like character counts thing, which is like the
Wow.
pillars of like
Wow.
character for students. But it was a high school award. And it was like this Hall of Fame high
Yeah.
school award.
Yeah.
And I won this award in 6th
Yeah.
grade. And like, I can't even speak to how important that award was
Yeah.
to me, to win a
Yeah.
high school award in elementary school and for someone to believe in me. That was
Do you
a
remember
male
that guy's
figure.
name?
Yeah, Tom Wright.
Of course you do. I remember Mr. Ledbetter growing up in elementary school, suburbs of Chicago. I can tell you all the names of all the women teachers I had. I loved them. God bless them. All the way through 6th grade. 7th grade, the first male teacher, Mr. Ledbetter. We guys flocked around him like fireflies. I mean, just to be around a guy who notices and speaks to you like a young man. Wow. Makes a difference.
Yeah, sir.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So in 50 years worth of time in your career, while also, parallel with your faith being embedded in your career,
Yeah.
what lessons have been learned from that? Because that's quite a career in the same space. And of course, narrowing in with males about 30 years ago.
Yeah.
what are some like real big markers in there that you can pull from and be like, man, this is what I've learned from this much experience in my career?
Yeah. Well, I'd like to tell you a pretty deep one, and it's pretty simple. If you don't mind, it comes right out of the Bible.
Yeah.
If you don't mind me quoting a verse in the Bible, Mark 12:30 and 31, that for those, again, in our audience, whether they're Christians or not, or they read the Bible or not, I bet they've heard the verse. Jesus was asked, what's the most important commandment to follow? And his answer was, love the Lord your God with all of your heart, with all of your soul, with all of your mind, and all of your strength, and love others as yourself. I think it's an amazing answer. He shut them up. It was profoundly concise and deep at the same time, but I think I've learned that it's a lesson for how we're designed, men and women. We have those four things. Heart, we're emotional. Soul, we're spiritual. Mind, we're intellectual. Strength, we're physical. All men and women have those qualities. They're different, in my opinion, different from each other, but uniquely blessed by God. Femininity, uniquely blessed. Masculinity as well. Heart, soul, mind, and strength. A lesson that we've been passing on, my friend Brent here and Jim in Charlotte, North Carolina, is based on that verse. And we call it the 4 pillars of a godly man. Heart, soul, mind, strength. The qualities that come to the surface when men live that way, love God and others that way. Out of your heart, compassion. Out of your soul, confidence. Out of your mind, conviction. Out of your strength, courage. Just so happen I'll start with C's. Makes it easier for me to remember. But I think it's true. What God put in your hearts, you guys, because you're men, is the capacity to live for others with compassion and confidence and conviction and courage. And the second verse, verse 31, love others as yourself. I think that's a pretty critical phrase. Do all of this for the benefit of other people, not just you. Your life's not all about you. I'm not the first guy to figure that out or to say it, but I say it quite a bit to men because our culture likes to tell men, it is all about you. You're the center of the universe. You're invulnerable. You're going to live forever. None of those are true. None of them are true. In particular, your life is not all about you. You can make it all about you, and you'll die and nobody will remember you. Make it about others, and you pass on a life-giving legacy.
It's beautiful.
So those 4 pillars, we really promote them and press them right now. And whenever it's appropriate, I'll tell folks how they can land on those things. And
that's actually a good segue because that's right the next thing.
Is this a good time to do that?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Well, I'll just mention a link, godlymanproject.org, godlymanproject.org. Go there. What pops up is the 4 pillars of a godly man.
Mm-hmm.
Just fill out name, address, or name, email address, and you'll get a free electronic version of that booklet, 4 Pillars of Godly Man. It's not hard to read. It's about 18 pages, something like that. Gosh, I think very concise and impactful. Just like Jesus' words, I think this is about as concise as we can make that message. godlymanproject.org.
Love it, sir.
Well, all right. We'll put that in the show notes so you guys can check that out.
Good.
And the link below. And so it's just so you guys remember it. It's compassion, confidence, conviction, and courage.
Let's go, Andrew.
4 C's.
Yeah.
Helps.
So, all right.
Good for you.
Well, this has been a great episode and great having you on, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
Thanks for having me.